Hi, this is John with The Evolving World. Today doing a video on cleaning up the seats on a Nissan PAO, and we're also going to be adding heating elements as well to the front seats. So as you can see here, this is what I got. This is the official, I guess, white interior, or is it light gray? I'm not exactly sure what it was originally, but it's clearly not that anymore. It's quite dark, quite nasty, lots of stains on it. You can see right here it's pretty bad. So although there's no tears in it, so that's good. It just needs to be cleaned up, and so that's what we're going to be doing here today. So I'm going to show you the whole procedure here. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and remove these seats from the car. So removing the seats are pretty easy. There's just 4 bolts right here. They're all 12 millimeter. And so you just loosen them up and pull the seat right out. It's pretty easy to do. And then in the back here, you've got some, there's a bar with 5 screws that goes across here. Once you remove that with just a regular Phillips head screwdriver, and you've got some of these little guys back here holding this trim piece in the back in place. So you just use your trim remover like so, wedge that in here, and then pull those out. Once you have that done, now you can get to the screws back here. So we'll go ahead and take those out next and then pull this thing out. Once those 4 10 millimeter bolts are removed, all you have to do is grab it and slide it, pull it forward towards the front of the vehicle to clear that bracket on both sides, and then you just simply lift it out. Make sure the seat belt's clear, pull it forward, you can tilt it, swing it out. It comes right out, pretty easy. And then the bottom cushion appears to be like a lot of other cars that have just a clip down here. There's like a little piece of metal into a piece of plastic. There's probably 2 of them down here. Put your hands right here and just do a nice firm, swift upward pull, and it basically snaps right out. Same thing on that side. And that's the only thing holding it back in. So this is ready to come right out now. So let's go ahead. Well, first of all, let's see what kind of goodies are behind here. Looks like we got some golf tees right here. Maybe there'll be some coins. Who knows? But anyway, let's go ahead and pull this out. So this is just a nice layout space. And then you want to go ahead and just start taking off the headrests. Seem to make the most sense. So they simply unbutton. These are functional buttons right here. So you simply pull them out, and then there's an extra little channel clip thing in here that kind of clips in here too. So let's go ahead and remove this out. The next step is we want to separate the upper cushion from the lower cushion. So what you do is you take the little cover plate off here with a Phillips screw, and then what you do is you use a 12 millimeter socket with a breaker bar, something nice and long like this right here, because these things are on here tight. And then once you loosen these guys up, we'll just be able to take these 2 bolts out. So on the left side there's a 17 millimeter bolt. So this one comes off much easier as there's no thread locking material on it. Unlike the right side, as you can see, the right side has some sort of thread locking material, and that's what provides all the resistance that you're going to get when you take the right side off. So now that we've separated the upper from the lower, the next step, this is going to be typical throughout, is we have a series of these metal loops in here that are just kind of designed to go in one way, one time. And so what we're going to do, there's only 4 of them on the upper, we're just going to use something like this. This works really, really well. And sit here and just cut these off. Don't worry about salvaging. We're going to go ahead and replace them with something else. The next step is you want to pull the cover up as much as you can get it. Once you get up to the headrest, there's going to be a lot of resistance here. So what you're going to have to do is just basically work it into a corner and just keep pulling it. Be assertive. It's not going to break. And then just keep pulling on it. And then it will eventually come out without damaging it. As you can see right here. So we still have to do this side. So let's go ahead and do that next. With that done, the next step is to work on the lower cushion here. So we want to take the tracks off next. That's all we have to do. So there's 12 millimeter bolts. There's 4 of them. Basically loosen those 2, take those off first, and then slide this forward, take the other 2 off that are back here. With the tracks out of the way, it makes it real easy to access our little loops. There's 4 of them in the back and 3 on each side, so a total of 14. So let's go ahead and clip those off with this. There's actually 2 more of them right here too. So there's a total of 16 on the bottom cushion. So once you remove those, this thing just pretty much just comes right off real easy. No resistance whatsoever. So that's what we got so far. The passenger seat is essentially the same. The only thing that's a little bit different is since it doesn't have the lift on it, it's constructed a little bit differently, so the tracks do not come off. It's actually just one piece. So you have to use a pry tool like this right here to remove the sides. There's 3 on one side, and then there's 2 on this side, right here. And then so just 4 hooks in the front and 4 hooks in the back. Once those are off, then it just comes right out. Now we're ready to go ahead and install our heating elements for our seats. And so this is what I got here. Got a pair of them. And so there's 2 per seat. And this is something I bought on eBay. It's kind of generic. Don't really know how well these are going to work compared to OEM, but I'd like to be the business. I mean, they got the elements in it. It looks like they have double-sided tape too, which is a nice added benefit. That way you don't have to glue it down. When I've done these before, I've had to use spray glue, but in this particular case, I think we'll probably be able to get away with just using the double-sided tape. Maybe put a little bit of extra in the middle here because I want to make sure that that doesn't move. Last thing we want to do is have to do this twice. So this is just I'm just loosely laying it down here, but this is approximately I think what we're going to do here. Just make sure that we center it, and that will be our bottom one right there. Oh yeah, also another thing about this one, they're all the same, so even when you get a pair of them in the same package, they have the same connector, so they don't join into each other. You have to, they just go to somewhere. You know, if you have a connector that matches this, that's great, but if you don't, it's kind of like, well, you just have to deal with it. So anyway, we'll probably splice these together. One of these is the upper, and one of them is going to be the lower, so we have this one right here, which will essentially go in something like this, and then we'll have to join these 2 wires together. And laying it down here, finding our center point, and then we're marking the corners. Same thing over here. Now this particular element is a really large element here, so it covers pretty much the whole seat here. So we're going to have good coverage. So one thing we won't have to worry about is there's a little lump right here, but because this is such a large pad, we won't have to cut anything out here, I don't think, because our seat back is actually right about here, so you're never going to feel that lump. Now if you have a seat that's even bigger, or if you're adjusting it further forward, like if you're, for some reason you want to be more like over here, then you have to take that in consideration, and basically you just cut out the foam a little bit and allow that to line flush. Otherwise you're going to be feeling that lump hitting you. So same thing on the back side too. It looks like we'll be able to run it way down here, so we won't even be able to feel it. So here it is fitted. The double-sided tape works really well. I'm kind of surprised. It sticks really nicely. Okay, so here's what they look like, complete. I did manage to cut a little bit of foam out here just because I want to round this off a little bit. Duct tape it down just to kind of keep that hump down. Keep it kind of set down in there. Did that on both sides. Also did it on the bottom as well. Just that little wire that's sticking out. So these guys are pretty much done, ready to go. All we have to do now is put our covers back on and reinstall. So here's what we have as far as our covers. I cut off the middle section here because it's going to interfere with our heater, our seat heaters. So I don't want to have any conflicts here. But yeah, these look pretty dirty. See right here. It's interesting though that the color, someplace where it's not as dirty, if you look at it, focus, it's kind of got a green tint to it anyway, stock. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm using some simple green and some paper towels, and what I'm doing is I'm taking off all the grease spots, and just to kind of take off the black areas, literally, because otherwise that's all going to dilute with the mix here. So I've already done that side, and this is what the other side looks like. Similar type of stuff. So I'll go ahead and do this side next. Starting with the headrests here, I figured these are the cleanest. I'm using a combination of laundry detergent and dishwashing detergent because I think it's going to be an interesting combination here, since we have different types of material. The Dawn, the liquid, dishwashing liquid, is better at vinyl. It's better at cutting grease, and then for the fabric, the laundry detergent is going to work better. So I thought that these are the clean ones, but apparently they're not that clean. Now I'm working on the driver's side lower cushion, which is probably one of the worst. I just put it in here, let it soak for maybe a few minutes here, and just been kind of washing it a little bit, and you can see how the color of the water, that is some brackish stuff right there, nasty. So anyway, we're going to continue to just wash these several times, most likely. If you have a top loader washing machine, you could probably just do this in the washing machine and just let the machine do the work. But see, the problem is I have a front loader right here, so it's high efficiency, but the problem is it doesn't really soak very well. So I think what I'll probably do is do it all by hand, do it real good, make sure it's all nice and clean, and then as a final product, I'm going to toss it in the washing machine right here, put them all in there, and then just do one final cycle and let it do its thing, because it's probably going to rinse it better. It's probably going to be more efficient with rinsing, and it's gonna squeeze when it does the high speed spin cycle. It will really squeeze out, you know, all that the water that's in there. So I think it's going to do it better, because if I try to do this by hand, it's going to be crazy. Because I mean, the rinsing part, you know, how would you rinse this? I'm going to have to sit here and run my faucet. It's not going to work very well. So I think that for a rinse cycle, I think in the washing machine is going to be the final pass. Okay, so I got these covers out of the washing machine right now. Looking pretty good. 2 hand washings and 1 machine washing here. They have a nice scent. All that smoky nastiness is gone. And they fit in the machine pretty easily here. So what we'll do is we'll put this on a very, very low heat, or maybe no heat actually would be better, because we don't want them shrinking. And yeah, I think we'll be ready to put them back on the frames tomorrow and back in the car afterwards. So for the back seats, I'm going to go ahead and just leave them installed here. As far as the pads, I'm not going to remove the fabric or anything. We're not going to be adding any heat or anything, so there's really no reason to take it off. And it's actually kind of simpler just to leave it in place here. So what I've been doing is I've been using simple green on the vinyl right here, and then I'm using my trusty Bissell Spa Clean Pro Heat here, which is basically just a wet vac. And so I've already pre-soaked it right here, and then I'm using a brush to kind of get it in there real good. Let it soak for a few minutes, and then now we'll go ahead and back this stuff out. And then if we need to hit a few spots, like we got a little spot right there, we'll come back and hit that again a few times, and then hopefully that will go away, and that will be that for the back seat. And here's what the bottom cushion looks like after it's done. So all the water stains are gone. Looks pretty good. Still got a little bit of a stain right here, but that's pretty much a deep stain right there. I could probably come back and spot clean that again later on. But generally it came out really nice. Didn't have to take the thing apart. So that's what we got here. Some pretty nasty brown water. I know it didn't look as bad as the front seats. We used up about a half a container here of fresh water, soapy water. So now we'll go ahead and do the upper cushion. And here's the upper seat back. Looking pretty good. Looks like we got all the stains out. That one came out really nice. So now let's go ahead and put these outside, let them dry a little bit. Our nice clean seats are out here basking in the sun right now. Looking pretty good. Awaiting installation. back in here. Only thing we have to do back here, I already took this off here, is we had a wire going to our fuel pump, and that's what was here. So we'll go ahead and just snip that off, and then basically clean everything up that's back here. All the wiring that's here is good, with the exception of this fuel pump line wire. That's the only thing that we don't need back here. So everything else is ready to go back in after we get done cleaning. And our seats are clean, so we're ready to go ahead and install those back in. Next step is to put the covers back on. The headrest goes on pretty simple, and the other ones are actually even easier. So right here is the upper cushion here, cover. And so this one just slips right on, almost as easy as a pillowcase. It goes right on. And there's one little tip I'm going to show you right here. So I found that this works really, really well here. So it comes with a circle right here, cutouts. And what I found is by just increasing it a little bit, by putting some little cuts in it, but not enough to expose the cuts. As you can see with the outline of the plastic piece is right here, but you just enlarge it a little bit, and that gives you enough leverage to be able to get these on with pretty much minimal amount of effort now. So what you do is you work it like either to the left or to the right. You move them both to the left, like so, and then what you're going to do is you're going to slip it underneath that hump, and then slide it over back to the right, or vice versa, whichever way you want to go. And that technique works really, really well. That's really the hardest thing you have to do here. This is what it looks like, so it came out nice. Next step is to secure the cover at the bottom, and I find that these nylon tie wraps work really, really well for this. You can buy like 100 pack for like a couple dollars, and we're only going to need 4 per seat here, at least for the upper section. And so the key thing you have to remember here is that there's a rod going through here, and you want to make sure that you could use a hole puncher to verify that you enlarge your hole so that you can stick your nylon through here. But you have to make sure that you're hitting that rod, because if you're not hitting it, it's going to be it's going to be a lot weaker. It's going to just rip right through that vinyl. So you have to make sure that rod is in front of the you can see right here. The rod is in front of the nylon, so that way we're using metal rod to metal rod, and essentially you just get one started, and then get another one, and then work your ways out, and then just pull them all tight, and basically that's it. And here's the bottom cushion, so this goes in even easier. Very, very simple. You put in your cable ties, tighten it down, and that's basically done. So let's go ahead and put this seat back together. So the next step, once the seat's all back together, is to go ahead and tidy up our wires here, get them ready for connecting to the car. And so what I've done here is I punched a hole right here into the seat cover, just a little one, and then I have the upper cables coming down through there. So these connectors that were supplied, I was actually able to find a kit that matches it. So that was kind of cool. So basically I've got something that does actually match our connector. The next step is to go ahead and solder your connections right here, as we've just done right here. And next we'll put some electrical tape to seal these up. And now we've tidied it up a little bit and made it a little bit more protected and a little bit more professional looking by adding our wiring loom here. This is actually salvaged off of another car actually, so it didn't cost me anything. But if you do buy it new, it's not that expensive, so it's kind of a nice little finishing touch there, I think. So it kind of gives it a little bit of extra protection.